Right. Then we are done with this question. That is how to make a guess. Right. Now let's discuss about. Now we have discussed about the while loop. Right now, so far we have discussed about the while loop. In the while loop, we had the while keyword, and then we had the condition. We had the condition here, and condition should be evaluated to a Boolean value. As long as condition is true, it will execute the body statement. Right now, then we had the body statement. Then we knew that as long as the condition is true, condition is true, while loop executes. While loop. Right. Now that is how the while loop works. Then we have done it already. Now the problem is now there's another loop called do while loop. What's the difference between while and the do while? Now let's see first of all what's the difference between while loop and the do while loop. Right. Now in the do while loop it will have a keyword called do, and then we have the body statements, and then we have the keyword while, and then the condition. Therefore, as in the previous one, as long as the condition is true, the do while loop is working. Right, then here there are some differences. Now do while loop, now the body statements. Now here compared to the while loop, the body statements will get executed if the condition is true. If the condition is true, then only the body statements get executed. Right, then do while loop, without checking the condition for the first time, it will execute the body for one time. It will execute the body, then only it will check the condition. Therefore, if it is while loop, you can say while loop runs 0 or many times. Then, because if the condition is false, then this won't run 0 times. Or if it is true, many times it will run. But do while loop, we can say do while loop. The do while loop runs one or many times, basically. Because while loop runs 0 many times, where the do while loop at least one time it will run. No matter the condition is true or false, it will check the condition, then it will run. Therefore, it will run one or many times. Right. Therefore, remember that at least one time the while loop will get executed in a do while loop. Right. Right. Then here also, right now, if we previously we tried to print. Okay, let's see how to modify this code also. Right, in this program, I have made a guess first of all. Then I have asked user to enter the x, and I have declared variable called x, and I have assigned minus. Why I had to do that? Because I wanted to get an input from the user, and by any chance, if the value is, if this is minus 1, whatever, if x is equals to the guess, right, then this while loop will not work Not it won't work. No? Now, for an example, if I have declared it like this here, now and let's say we'll print the guess as well for the time being for us to know. Right now, you can see here. First, I'm getting the input before the while loop. Right now, if I have entered guess as 9, you can see this won't run. This loop won't run because x equals to 9. X is equals to 9. Guess is 9. Therefore, this won't run. So this will not work out as according to the way I have done. Now, because of this reason, I had to uh, I had to ask you declare a variable x as -1, and I had to do that. Right now, that is what I did. I have declared variable x as -1, then I had it. But if I have used do while loop here, then what should I do? Right now, first I need to get the user input. No? Then initially I want to get the user input. Therefore, now the do, and I don't need this condition. Right, do. We can ask user to enter the number. We can get it, and we can check. After that, right now this is the do. Then we can have the while loop. While x is not equals to guess. Right. Then here by the time here I'm trying to declare I'm going to check what is the x here. No? Then when I'm trying to check what is the x here, if x is not declared here, then there will be a problem. Since x is not declared outside, no? So I have to declare the x variable outside. Right now, I have declared x variable here. So x is not equals to x. Right. Now, if you run this, it will ask user to enter the guess. Right, 9 is the guess we have got. Right now, you can see it will work out. Right now, here we can ask user to enter the guess, and then we can. So therefore, we don't have to have default values for the variable x because we are using the do while loop. Now, this in this scenario, using the do while loop is the idea. Right now, try to display 1 to 10 numbers. Okay, not 1 to 10 numbers. Okay, quickly display 1 to 10 numbers using the do while loop quickly. Right. Now, okay, this is the answer. Let me, one of your answers, I'm gonna just take a copy right now. Here I'm seeing very good initiative. You are closing the scanner as well. Very good. That's You get the sum, count, and number, enter 10 numbers to add, enter number, count plus 1, number, right, and then sum equals number, count plus, right. The total is good. And then you have close the scanner as well. Right, very good. Now, when you are closing the scanner is a very good move, especially when you are dealing with file readers. If you try to read a file using the scanner, then this comes very handy because you have to use this. Right, it takes only 10 inputs. Right. Right now, let's say I have a username and a password, right? Let's say my username is equal admin and the password is equals to 1234. Right now, you have to admin 1234, admin 1234 and a capital A. Right now, here, what I want you to do is I want you to ask user to enter the username and password, right? Ask user to enter the username and password, and then um, if the username and password entered username and password, if it matches with this, you need to say access granted. Otherwise, you need to say invalid password or invalid credentials, try again. Invalid credentials, try again. Like as you have said. If the entered username and password is correct, you need to say access granted and stop the program. If not, if the password or username is not correct, then you need to repeat until you enters the correct username and password. Okay? Try out quickly. We have to get the user input and then let's say we need to have the username and password. Let's save that as well. String username equals admin and the password is equals to admin 123. Right. Now we can ask user to enter the username and the password. We can ask user to enter the username and let's say string p scan dot next. We'll get the password as well. And right, we can get the password, username, let's say U, password as P, not next line. We can use next line because password may contain spaces. We don't know, and username cannot have spaces. So that's what I say. Anyway, we'll have. Right then, we have to have the condition now. If if whatever, if the username, dot And let's say username. We have equals method. When you want to compare with string values right now or another object, we can work with the equals method. Equals method compare the string to the specified object, the result is true if and only if the argument is not null and is a string object that represents the same sequence of characters as this object. Therefore, if you want match exact match, you have to use the equals method. There's another method called equals ignore case. Equal ignore case also compare the string to another string, ignoring case considerations. Therefore, if you ignore the case consideration, that means even though you have entered capital ADMIN or in a mix of capital and simple letters, it won't consider the case. It will ignore the case. Therefore, for the username, if I want, I can try with the equals ignore case and for the password, I can check password dot equals. Password has to be exactly matched equals with the. If this is correct, if the username and password is matching, I can say access granted. Hello, welcome user. Welcome. I can say the username as well. Right. And thereafter, if the condition is false, that means if the condition is false, I can invalid credentials. I can say invalid credentials. Try again. Invalid credentials. Try again. Likewise, I can display. And while, right now we have a while loop now. Do I loop now? Right, then what we can do? Right now we are checking this. Now, here I'm asking user to enter the username and password. Now, if the password is correct, we no longer have to do this, right? Now, according to the way I have written it, I'm going to introduce another variable called Boolean variable flag, and I'm going to assign it as false. Boolean variable flag, which is false. And if the password is correct, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign flag variable as true. If the flag is true, then I'm gonna say while flag is right now. Or if you want, you can do it in the other way. You can make it as true. Flag is true. Then if it is found, we can make it as false. Therefore, while flag. That means here now this one will loop until the flag variable becomes false. Therefore, flag variable become false whenever the user enters the correct username and password. Right now, let's try it and see. Right, let's record this now. Oh, it's recorded. Okay. So now it asks us to enter the username. Now I'm going to type AD capital M I simple N capital N and password AD MIN capital admin 1 2 3 4. Then it gives me access granted, welcome, and not the one I have typed because I'm getting the same username. No? Right. And if I enter invalid username or password, right, then invalid credentials, try again. Right now it would say invalid credentials, try again. Right now, because here it will the do while loop will run. If the here the while loop condition is true, then it will repeat. No? That's what I have taken the advantage. Right. Right now, as the last question, using the do while loop, print the multiplication table of any given number up to 20. Print the multiplication table of any given number up to 20. This will be the last question under do while loop. Quickly do it and tell me the answer. Right now, what you have to do, you need to get the username. Oh, sorry, not the username. You need to get the number user wanted to print the multiplication table. The integer x equals scalar dot next int, and then we can display multiplication table of multiplication table of x, and then you can print x multiplied by okay, we need to have variable, no? Number I equals 0, x multiplied by I equals x multiplied by I. Right. And we need to increase the I value also by 1. Then we can say I value less than or equals to 20. Okay. Will ask us to enter the number to print the multiplication table. Password. We need to run this, not the previous one. We need to run this one. Number 5. So print ln. We have to use a print ln method. No, I have used a print. Otherwise, it would display on the same line. This is not what we wanted. We wanted display on line by line, right? Yes. Okay. Right now, repeating this also a problem for us. Therefore, we need to remove this and then we'll have it there. So it will print again and again and again. We don't want to repeat that task. No? Right. Right now, from 0 to 20, it would display the multiplication table of the given number. Right. Okay. Now, this is about how you work with the while loops and the do while loops. Now, so far we have discussed about variables, data types, and data casting, and the operators we have discussed, and then we have discussed about the conditional statements, and under that we have discussed if else, switch statements, and then the while loops we have discussed, and thereafter we are discussing about the for loops right now. Normally, remember while loops. We use the while loops when we have no clue that how many number of times the loop has to run. If you are not sure about the number of times the while loop has to run, you use the while loop. But if you have an idea that you have to run this for 10 times, or if you know exactly how many times you want to run, you could use the for loop. Right now, using the for loop is very easy. Right now, let's see how to declare for loop. Let's say, right now, for loop start with the keyword for. Right, if you are using NetBeans IDE, if you just typing for FOR and pressing the tab key, would generate the default for loop for you. Right. Now, if you are using NetBeans or any IDE, try type FOR and press the tab key. Type FOR, press the tab key, it would generate the for loop. Right. If not, let's say we have to have for loop mainly inside the for loop. For loop start with the keyword for. Now there are three components in the for loop. There are three components in the for loop. Now what are the for loop three components? That's what we need to learn right now. What are the three components in the for loop? Right now, we need to have initialization. Right now, we have some part called initialization. Right now, we know that here in the while loop or the do while loop, uh, we have uh, we have like while loop. We had the right while loop and the condition. Right. And then do while loop, we perform the body statements, then we have checked the condition. Right. Now in the for loop has three components in the for loop body. The body in the declaration we can say. Right. Now normally we use the for loop when you have when you know exactly how many number of times the loop has to run. If you know the number of times it has to run, then you use the for loop normal. Right now, there are three components in the for loop declaration. Like you have initialization separated by semicolon, right? And then we have the condition, right? And separated by the semicolon. And then we have iteration, right? That means uh, iteration. Initialization, condition, and the iteration. Initialization, right? Condition and the iteration, and thereafter we have the body statements inside the brackets. We have the body statements. Right now, what do you mean by the initialization? Right now, normally, initialization means like now, if you can remember, when we were doing the while loop, if you wanted to print 1 to 10 number, we had keep a variable called I, and then thereafter we use a variable called count, and then we count number of times like that. Then in order to keep a track of the number of times the loop has run, then we have to use a control variable. Right now, normally we need to use a variable. So we need to have to declare a variable to count that how many number of times this has to run likewise. Then now for an example, you can declare it here. Integer I equals 0. the condition I less than 10. Then only 10 times this loop has to run. Starting from 0, then it will go up to less than 10 means I equals 9. And now each time the loop runs, it has to make a progress towards its termination, right? That means how we can make a progress towards its termination. Right now, because I value starting from 0, then I value, the condition is I less than 10. Then I has to increase 1 every time it runs, right? Therefore, I plus plus. If you want to increase by another number, you can do it as well. I plus plus. Now, we say I plus plus. Thereafter, body statements, we can print the for. Now, let's write it and see. Now, for integer I equals 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. Then we can display the I value. Now, here this would run starting from 0. It will run up to 10. Then 10 times it will run. But I values get printed 0 to 9. It would print the values from 0 to 9 because starting from 0 less than 10. If you want to display, let's say 1 to 10 numbers, you can say I equals 1 less than or equals to 10. Then if you say less than or equals to 10, this would run for 10. 1 to 10 numbers. Right. Now by any chance, if I have put I minus minus, what will happen? Can someone tell me? If I have put minus minus, what will happen? Any idea? Now what happens? I want you to talk to me quickly. In this scenario, right now here, okay. Now the problem is now I started from 1 and the condition it checks to stop the loop is I is equals to 10. And then every time the loop runs, I value decreases by 1. Hence, this is infinite loop. Now the loop I value is never increasing. I value is always decreasing. But the condition it checks I less than or equals to 10. Right now that is wrong. Because always I value is less than or equals to 10 now. Because I is becoming a negative number. Right. Then here in this scenario, now the loop is never ending. Now it is running infinitely. You can see that it runs infinitely. Now it has run, I think, more than millions now. I think most probably it might have run millions now. Let's see. Yes. See? In such a scenario, you can stop by pressing this button because this is a never ending loop. Right. Because I value has to increase by 1 every time it is. Right now, some scenarios, let's say you want to start from 1 and then next value should be 3, next value should be 5. Likewise, you need to increase by 2. I value should be increasing by 2. In such scenarios, can you write I plus C equals to? I plus C equals to I plus C equals to. Right now, what will happen now? If you type I plus C equals to, that means every time I value should increase by 2 right now. But if you try to do that, here it gives us an error saying that class interface in a more record expected. Right now here, why is it? Right now there's a extra bracket here because this bracket has been uh, replaced previous. Now here, right now in this code, let's see if there are any errors. Right now, we wanted to display I starting from 1 less than or equals to 20, but every time I value has to increase by 2. Then you can say I plus C equals to. Right. Anyway, remember first component. Right here, there are 3 components separated by semicolons. So first component is the initialization. Initialization. That is the control variable you use. Initialization. The second one is the condition. The condition you use. The third component, iteration. That means in order to make a loop termination, what you have to do. The progress towards to loop termination, that or else whether it is increasing or decreasing, right, in the next iteration. Whether it is increasing or decreasing in the next iteration. That's what this is for. Right. Now, quickly display. Okay, ask user to enter 10 numbers. Right, and then get the 10 inputs from the. Okay, first of all, display the sum of first 10 numbers and thereafter edit the code in order to get the user input 10 numbers and get the sum value. Okay, quickly do it. Easy to do, right? Now, first question is to get the 10 inputs from the user. 1 to 10 numbers, sum value, right? Okay, 1 to 10. And I value has to increase by 1 at a time. And then we need to declare a variable called I. Just a minute. Right now, we need to have a variable here to keep the sum. I'm going to sum equals 0. So now we can say sum equals sum equals sum plus I. Right, and then later on, we don't have to display the I value, right? We can display the total later on. Okay, here we can say sum value is equals to sum. Right now, if you run this, it would say 1 to 10, 55. Right now, then sum value equals 55. Now it's very easy. Right now, the next question was to take 10 input from the user and get the sum value, right? So User, you have to enter. Okay, let's say you want to display the number value as well. Then you can display the I value. Number I. User enter the number, and then let's take it into temporary variable t equals scanner. We have already created scanner dot next in. Right, then instead of some variable, instead of I variable, we're gonna increase the t. We're gonna add the t value every time t contains the temporary value user has entered. Now it will display the number 1, 2, 3 likewise. Then number 1, 1, 5, 6, 9, 8, 7, 3, 2, 4, and 0. Right now it would say 45. Likewise, it would say the way we can work with it. Right now, that's how we can work with the for loop. Right now, for loop, there are special arrangements as well. Sometimes you may don't see this one, right? But semicolon is there. At the in the body statement, you have the increment or decrement what you want to do. Here, likewise, you can have special cases of the for loop. Right now, you don't put it in here. Right. Even sometimes you may have declared the variable as well here. Then you don't need to declare int again. Right now we can declare I equals 1, I less than 10. Likewise, you can have the missing case. Right. Now, right now, that is how we can work with the for loops. Right. Then, right now what we have to discuss. Right now, we can have nested loops as well. Before we are going into the nested loops, let's say we can have, now we said that we have only right now three components here, and then one is the initialization with one variable, and the condition, and the iteration, whether we are increasing or decreasing. That's how we have had it. Right. Then let's say if you want to find the let's say you have two numbers given, base and the power. If you have given the base and the power, how you calculate the using a for loop, I want you to calculate base to the power. Now, for an example, if the base is 2 and the power is 3, that means you need to multiply 2 by 2 for 3 times. 2 into 2 into 2. Then you need to multiply the same number itself with for 3 times. Then I want you to do it using a for loop. Okay, quickly do it. You have to ask user to enter the base and the ask user to enter the base, let's say x, and if it is the power or the exponent, if it is y, you need to calculate uh, x to the power y, x to the power y. Now x to the power y means x should multiply with x for y number of times. Okay, quickly do this, and yeah, first of all, try this one quickly. And beforehand, like the same thing we have did previously, multiplication table. If you wanted to, let's say, what I want to do is for the user given number, if you want to get the multiplication table done, right? Again, it's very easy. We need to ask user to enter the number, and then let's say the number is saved as t here. Then for let's say we'll have the for loop also for I equals 0. Let's say 1, 2, 20, 15 numbers you want to display I plus plus, and then you can say t multiplied by t multiplied by t multiplied by I equals, we need to put inside the brackets, otherwise what's going to happen you need to figure out. Right, now we can just do it like this. And here also, if it is just one line, you don't need the brackets. Right now, in the conditions, else statements, right now, while loop, do while loop, right now, do while loop, we have to have brackets. Right now, even if it is a for loop, if it is just one number, one statement, you don't need to have the brackets, because immediate line after this will be considered as its body. Right. Now, this is how you can display the multiplication table. Right. Now, the question is to get the base and the power. Right now, you can ask is to enter the base. Let's name it as B. And then the other one is the exponent or the power you need to ask. Base or the power. Right. Let's say it is P. Right now, it's up to you to configure this for loop in order to calculate the answer. Right now, I can display the electron to the power is base B, right, to the power E is to the answer, right. Let's declare a variable called integer answer as well. Then right now we need to write the for loop in order to calculate this. Right. Now I'll give you 1 minute right now how to write the base and the p-values. Where to write, how to write this. Quickly tell me how we can manage this quickly as possible. Right. Now, here, what you have to do, starting from the power, let's say I is equals to P, equals starting from 0, I less than, no, I less than P. That number of times we need to run, and I equals 0, I less than P. Right. And semicolon missing. And we need to calculate answer is equals to answer multiplied by what? Answer multiplied by the base. Right, answer is equals to answer multiplied by base, so answer has to be 1. Right, now the base value for 3 times. Now let's run it and see. Right, base 2 to the power 3, which says 2 to the power 3 is 8. 2 to the power 3 is 8. Now, we need to multiply uh, by b, we need to multiply by b for 3 times. Right, now that is how we can do it. Right, now, and we can have loop inside a loop as well. We can have nested loops. We call it as nested loops. Then we can have loops inside a loop as well. Before we go into loop inside a loop, I'm going to show you another variation of a for loop. Sometimes you may see two variables has been used. Now, for an example, let's say integer x equals 0, where y is equals 10, x equals 0, y equals 10. Let's say x less than or equals to y, x less than or equals to y. And you're going to have, now you can see there are only 3 components you can have separated by semicolon. It is. Right now there are 2 control variables. So x and y declared by x and y separated by comma. But that component separated by semicolon. Then the condition x less than equals to y. Then the iteration. Then I'm going to say x plus plus comma, because I have 2 variables to deal with, y minus y. X plus plus y minus y. Right, then I'm going to display x value and the y value. Right, now let's say I'm going to display x value x plus the y value. Right now, what would be the output if you run this? Right now, starting from 0, then it would display 0, 10. Now you can see it would display 0, 10, 1, 9, because x value is increasing and the meantime y value is decreasing. And both reaches to 5 and 5, it stops. Likewise, then you can see this is how you can work with 2 variables, two multiple components here. Right now, separated by comma. Then each component has to, if you have multiple values, has to separated by the comma. See, here this is separated by comma. And then you can have the brackets as well. Right now for the for loop, if you want, you can have the bracket, because since I am having only just one line after the for loop, so I'm not gonna worry on it. Right. Right. Then I want you to quickly try out. If you have given, let's say, a number, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want you to get the sum of the numbers, sum of the digits. Likewise, I want to display 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, which is 3, 3, 6, 4, 10, 15. Right now, I want to display the answer as 15. Right now, quickly do this. Ask user to enter a number, and then I want to get the sum of the digits. I want to get the sum of the digits, and I want you to use it to get a number, and the reverse is equals to, I want you to using a for loop, I want you to reverse, and reverse I want you to display 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think we have done this exercise using while loop. Then I want you to try. And we have factorial value. If it is factorial 2 means 2 into 1. Answer is 2. If it is factorial 3 means 3 into 2 into 1. Answer is 6. If it is factorial 4, if it is factorial 4, factorial 4 means 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. 4 into 3 is 12. 12 into 2 is 24. Then answer has to be 24. Right now, likewise, I want you to find the factorial value. Now, this is how you find the factorial value. Find the factorial for the given number. Right, if user enters 10, you need to find the factorial number. Right. Now, these are the three questions that I want you to quickly do now. Quickly do it and send it to me via chat. Please send the answers quickly as possible. Okay, let me make it as a comment first and then you can refine. I'm gonna do the first one quickly. As your answer, right now you need to ask you to enter the number. No? Right. You'll ask you to enter the number. Right. And then that number has to be stored. N equals scan object dot next thing. And then how you have done it. You have a declared variable called sum equals 0. Right. And then using a for loop, I equals 0. And then what is this? Number is not equals to 0. I not n. Okay, I equals n and I equals n and I. This is the answer I have received. I not equals to 0 and always I value divided by 10. I divide equals 10. I equals I divided by 10. Then the sum plus I modulus 10. And then if you want, we can have system.out.print. We can have mm, mm, the numbers. Right now, let's see. We have to enter a number and then let's see how it's gonna work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Right. Now what's wrong with this code? Right. Okay, now why this gives us 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. It gives me 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. May I know the reason or where I can correct it? How can I correct it? What's wrong with this? Right now, some variable is 0 and you initialize the variable I as n. And then you say I not t equals to 0, not t equals to 0, not 10. Now, then you can see I enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first time I value contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The second time I value contains 1, 2, 3, 4. And the third time 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Then this is how you do. Right now you can see every time I value changes, you divide it by 10. Then the first number divided by 10 become 1, 2, 3, 4. When you divide again by 10, 1, 2, 3. Again, when you divide by 10, 1, 2. When you divide 12 by 1, 1. And also, here what you do is you get the modulus. Then when you get modulus by 10, remainder is 5. When you modulus by 10, remainder is 4. When you modulus by 10, remainder is 3. When you modulus by 10, remainder is 2. When you modulus by 10, remainder is 1. So you get the answer. Right. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 5 is 15. Okay, this is how you get the sum of the given number. Right. Now we have done this. Now, by doing some changes, you could find the reverse of the number, right? We quickly do the reverse of the number and then do the factorial number. I'll give you 5 minutes max, and then we'll start with the nested for loops and the arrays. So quickly do it. Okay, this is how you do the reverse, and then here you can see this component also not typed here, and then here, but though you have separated by semicolon. Then here you can see you have declared the control variable, reverse equals 0, and then not the reverse, n. N is the control variable here. Use n, you get the user input, and that is the n. And until n is not equal 0, this loop runs. Right then, n always un divided by 10. Reverse is equals to reverse multiplied by 10 plus n modulus 10. Reverse multiplied by 10 plus n modulus 10. Okay, now let's just check this and see how you get the answers. Right, then that would help us to identify what is happening over there. Right, now, okay, what are the variables we have now? Let's see the variables we have, and then thereafter we will see how this loop is working. Actually, when you see a logic, when you see a loop, oh, you should be able to understand how this is working actually. Right, now let's see what is happening over there. Right. My where is my digitizer? I don't know that. Okay, anyway, let's use the mouse. We have the variable n. Right now we have the variable n and we have the variable reverse. Right. Okay, R is for reverse. Okay. Don't mind about my handwriting. Initially, n contains, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. N equals that. right? Now the for loop runs. When the for loop runs, n is equals to this. And then first time, when the first occurrence, n is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. N is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, n. And n not equals 0. Not equals 0. The condition is true, right? N is not equals 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 not equals 0. Then n become, again n equals n divided by 10. Then you divide n value by 10. Then it should become 1, 2, 3, 4. That means after the for loop. But before the for loop, you have a variable called reverse. Let me R. R reverse variable. Reverse variable is 0. Now currently it is 0. Then 0 reverse equals 0 multiplied by 10. 0 multiplied by 10 plus n. N value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 modulus 10. Modulus 10 would return 5. Then 0 into 10 is 0. 0 plus 5. Then that would give you 0 plus 5. Then n is to n divided by 10. Now value get divided by 10. Then the second occurrence, when you divide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 10, it becomes 1, 2, 3, 4. Condition is true. 1, 2, 3, 4 not equals 0. Then 0 plus 5 become 5. 5 into 10. 5 into 10 plus 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 modulus 10. Then 5 into 10 is 50. 50 plus 1234 modulus by 10 means remainder is 4. Right. And then n divided by 10 happens. Then the time it become 1, 2, 3. Right. Now condition is true. Then answer is 54. Then 54 multiplied by 10 plus 1, 2, 3 modulus 10. Then 54 multiplied by 10 is 540. 540 plus 123 modulus by 10 means remainder is 3. And n divided by 3 happens. When you transfer the fourth time, 123 divided by 10 becomes 12. Condition is true. Then 540 plus 3 is now 543. 543 multiplied by 10 plus 12 modulus 10. Plus 12 modulus 10. Then 543 into 10 become 5430. 12 divided by 10 is remainder is 2. Then you get this. Then fifth time 12 divided by 10 happens. 12 divided by 10 is 1. Not equals to 0, true. Then answer is 5432 into 10 plus 1 modulus 10, which is 54,320 plus 1. 54,320 plus 1. Now, 1 divided by, now we have 1. 1 divided by 10, which is 0. Then for the next time, I value is 0. Then condition is false because 0 not equals 0 false. Then answer going to be 54,321. 54,321. Original value was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The reverse of this is 54,321. Now this is how this is working. I think it is clear to you. If it is not, you can ask questions. Right. Now this is how we got this. Right. Now this is what is happening over there. Right. Now the last question we have to do. The last question is to find the factorial number. Right now, the same way you can do it. Right now, if you have to ask, if you ask to find the factorial number, factorial 5 is equals to 120, which is calculated by 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Right, let me see whether someone has done it. Yes. Right. Okay, let me change the code as well now. Right, you get the number. Then we have number equals this, and then we have factorial, which is equals to 1. Factorial variable equals to 1. And then for integer I equals to 1 and I less than or equals to I less than or equals to number. I less than or equals to number means n, that is the answer I have received, and then I plus plus. And then factorial is equals to factorial multiplied by uh, factorial equals to factorial multiplied by I. Factorial is equals to factorial multiplied by I. Right. And then the factorial of 5. Factorial factorial is n is factorial value. Right, now let's see whether it works. Factorial 4 has to be 124, no? Factorial 4 is 6. Right, now there's something wrong. Factorial 4 is 6. No, factorial 4 is 24. Now this calculates only the one below. Right, now factorial 4 is 6 means it calculates factorial 3 value. Then that means one time the loop is not running. So I think equal sign is missing. Right, let's change the equal sign and see. Right, now factorial 4 has to be 24. Now it is working. Right, 4 is 24. If it is 5, 120. If it is 520, if it is 1, it should return 1. Factorial 0 is 1. But and then again, factorial values are not declared for the negative values. Therefore, factorial 0 is 1. And factorial 1 is 1. Factorial 2 is 2. Factorial 3 is 6. Likewise, you have the answers. Right. Then, right, that is how we did it. Right. Now, the next question is to, if I want to print the same thing right now, like let's say I want to print right now this pattern. If I want to print this pattern, then you may say, okay, there's nothing, no. It's very easy to ask. Oh, okay. Do you want to take a copy of this first? Right. Okay. Quickly read. And in the meantime, those who have finished, try to print this star pattern. Right now, this is very easy. Printing the star pattern. Let's see how we can do it. Right now, okay, I think time is enough now. Right, then do you want to know how the factorial value is calculated? Since no one asked, I assume you all are okay with it. Right, then if someone asks, okay, print this pattern, then you want to do it 4 times, no? Then you will say, okay, that's nothing, no? I want to print 4 stars for 4 times, then I equals 0, and this only has to run for 4 times. Likewise, you may write it like this, and then you will show us the output. Okay, 4 asterisks for 4 times using just one loop. 4 asterisks for 4 times. Right, then we don't need the number input right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 times because we have put the equal sign as well. Right. Then since starting from 0 goes up to 4, then it will run for 4 times. Right. Then this is how you could print 4 asterisks for 4 times. Right. Now, if you have given a chance that you want to print something like this, no, let's say um, first line only 1 asterisk, in the second line only 2 asterisks, the third line 3 asterisks, fourth line 4 asterisks. Likewise, if I want to print. Now this you can't do using a just a one loop, because now we have to have 2 loops for that. Why? One loop is to go line by line, go to the next line, and the other loop is to print the asterisks. First loop is to go to the next line, and while the second loop is to print the asterisks or whatever the numbers. The same thing we could have said 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Likewise, you can print. Okay, let's see. I think it's better to deal with the numbers, then we can have an idea. Right. Now I wanted this to run 4, 5 times. Then I'm going to starting with I is equals to 1 and I less than 6. I less than 6. Right. And the second loop. Now I need to have another loop. When the second loop get a chance to run, it has to run again first time 1, second time 2, third time 3, likewise. Then j starting from 0, then I'm going to say j less than 9 because initially I is 1 for the first time. Since j is 0, j less than 9, 0 less than 1, then it will run for 1. Now what I want to do, I want to print, let's say the JVAL. I want to print the JVAL. And afterwards, right now, if I run this, now let's run it and see. Now it won't cost us anything. Now when you just run this, okay, now we can see 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's starting from 0. Then I don't want to start from 0. No. Then I want to start from 1. Okay. Then j also will start from 1. J less than or equals to I, let's say. Right. Now if I do it, now you can see everything comes in together one after the other, and then there is no pattern. There is a pattern, but we can't clearly see. Now you can see the output is look like 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then how can we separate this? Now in order to do this right now, I'm not gonna use the println method. I'm gonna use a print method. And after the first for loop, I'm gonna use again the println method just to go to the next line. Just to go to the next line. In order to go to the next line. Right, now this is the code. Now you can see 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The second loop, the first for loop is just to print in the same line using print method. And the second loop, the first for loop is to go to the next line. Go to the next line. After the second loop finishes, go to the next line. Right now, this is how you can do it. Right now, rather printing j values, if you want to print asterisks, right now it's a matter of printing the asterisks. Then you would be able to print like this. Right now, try to do the reverse of the, now this is right now the other side of it. Let's try to print. Now we have done this. Now 5 asterisks starting from 5, then 4 asterisks, then 3 asterisks, 2 asterisks, and 1. Okay, shall we try this? How to do this? Then you have to just edit the code accordingly and how to get this thing done. Right, okay, try out quickly. Right now, let's say how to do the reverse of it. Right now, beforehand, okay, print this, and thereafter, if you are asked user to enter a number, print square, square pattern of given number. So, for an example, if it is 2, then you need to print like this. If it is 3, only 3 for 3 times, like this. Print this and then print this, and thereafter print what? The square pattern is easy, and then triangle pattern now we are doing multiplication table. Okay. Hmm. Right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Then 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 4, 8. Likewise, I want you to do it. And up to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Right now, this I want you to have. Mm. And then as a homework, I want you to try no, whose triangle is that? Pascal's triangle. Yes, Pascal's triangle. 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1. Would you be able to do this? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, well, at least try to print the triangle, so thereafter see the Pascal's triangle and you can. Yes, I think it's a little bit complex. You may have to use for loops, four nested loops. Right, okay, quickly do this. Right now, the reverse pattern. Right now, we'll try the reverse pattern quickly. Right. Uh, right now, we need to reverse the above code. Right. Let's say we need to start from now. We have to start 5. I is equals to 5. I is equals to 5. I greater than 0. I greater than 0 and always now I. Right now, let me have the same thing. Now, let me take another copy of the for loop. Now, I'm going to start from I is equals to 5. And then let's say less than or equals to 5. Then I is equals to 5. I is greater than or equals to 1. And then I minus minus. And j is starting from 1. And j less than or equals to I, j plus plus, and then is. Right now, let's see. The first line, it has to print 5 asterisks. And the second line, it has to print 4, 5 asterisks, 4, 3, 2, 1. What we did only the first line of the code. We did only the first line of the loop. We have just did it. Right, then the other side. Now we have printed of pyramid on one side. If you want to print the other side of the pyramid. Now this is a right angle triangle and the invert of the right angle triangle BD. If you want to print the reverse, the other side, left side of the triangle, that means the pyramid, the other half, other triangle, as a homework tryout. Now we are done with this. Now print the square pattern of the given number, right? And then try out with this multiplication table. Right, now these are the things I want you to do. Quickly do it and send the answers quickly. We'll ask user to enter the number. Um, number number. Let's say we'll get the number, whatever the number user gonna enter. Then equals scanner dot next int, and then we have to make sure the for loop runs how many times. Then how we can do it. It's a matter of but how can you do it now? For the square number. Right now we need to first for loop is to go to the next line, no? I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and second for loop is to print the squares. Then starting from j is equals to 0, j less than or equals to, we can say n, no? Yes, we can say n, or yes. And yes, n, we have to be n, right? Because square values we have to print. That's it. This bracket is extra, right? Now let's run it and see. Output of this number is 5, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 times it prints. Maybe an equal sign is there. Okay, and then yes, that's the problem. Right now, it will be okay. If it is 4, if it is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right now, that is how it works. If it is 2, only 2 by 2 stars, a matrix representation. If it is a 4 by 4, right now, that is how it works. Right now, fine. And the last thing is for us to do is to print the multiplication table. Up to 1 to 10 numbers you need to print. So how we can do it? Right now I will leave this and let me take a copy of this for loop, and let's have some space. Right now I want to start from 1. I need to start from 1 and I need to include 10 as well, and I plus plus, and then j is equals to I. So that again should go up to 10 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. J less than 10, j plus plus, and then I need to um, display the numbers I multiplied by j, I multiplied by j. I multiplied by j plus space. I didn't have spaces, won't work. No? Right, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, something wrong. Why? Okay, j starting not from 1. J should start from j, I equals I less than 10, I plus plus, fine. And j is equals to 1, j less than or equals to what? What should be corrected now? When it comes to multiplication table, have you done it? I equals 1, I less than 10, I plus plus. This is to go for 10 rows. That is fine. Then each time j is starting from I. I means always I become 1, I become 2 likewise. Then yes, that's why 2 into 2. Okay, then that's why here we need to change this. And then it should work now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 less than. Okay, here 10 was equal sign was missing here. That's why. Okay, let's remove the first for loop. No need to get the number as well. Right now, this is how we can print the multiplication table. Up to 10, we have done. Even if you want it up to 100, it's just a matter of putting up to 100. Then it would display the multiplication table, multiply up to 10 values, right? Up to 100. See? That is how you can do it. Now I think it's enough for the for nested loops. And then if you have any questions right now, I forgot that there are two keywords that you okay for each loop. We need to do the for each loop. After doing the arrays, we'll do the for each loop. Remind me. But we have two keywords that need to be remembered. Now in the switch also we have discussed about the break keyword, how to work with the break when you are talking about the switch statements we have discussed. Right. Right. Then we'll see how the break keyword works with a loop and how the continue keyword works with a loop. Right now, there are two keywords that you need to remember, especially with the break, with the loops. Those two are break and the continue. Right. Now remember, if you use the break, if you use the break inside a loop, then it will immediately, once the break statement executes, it will immediately stop the it will immediately stop the loop. It will immediately stop the loop, exit from the loop. That means if whatever the loop which has declared the break even. Right now, let's say even here I have I equals 10 and j less than equals to 10. No? Right, but when how you say that? Okay, let's say if I have put like I starting from 1, okay, then I'll use this I starting from 1, I less than or equals to 10, and j starting from 10, and j less than j greater than or equals to 1, and j minus minus. Right now, I'm gonna print I value and the j value. I value and the j value. Now I value I plus j value. Right now, let's see how it's gonna work out. Right now, starting from now, you can see it here now. It shows me okay, and then there has to be a space now. Okay, let's use slash and then println and only up to 5 times it's gonna work out. Okay, 10 will have. Okay, right. Then it would print one. It would print like here you can see here. It gives you I have 110, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 210, 29, 28. Likewise, it should print. Not this way. Right now, let's say indexing. Chapter indexing. Here also starting from 1 and j also less than j also less than or equals to 10. Right? J also less than or equals to 10, j plus plus. Now, here at the above, it prints the I value first, and then it print these. Right now, it would print 1, then 1.1, 1.2, likewise. Right now, let's say now here you can see when it is 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, likewise it prints 2, 2 to 2, 2, 2 to 10, 3, 3 to 10, likewise it prints. Now for an example, let's say if I want to, if I want to print, if I equals j, if I equals j, if I equals j, I'm going to say break. If I equals j, I'm going to say break. And if I equals j, I'm going to say break. And I'm going to put this before this print statement. Right now, if I equals j, break. Now, when I equals j, every time the loop has to stop. The second loop has to stop. Now you can see it's starting from 1 to 2.1 because 2.2 it will stop. And 3, 3.1, 3.2. And 4, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3 likewise. And 5, 5.1, 5.2, 5.3 likewise. Now you can see every time when the break keyword hits, it will exit from the immediate loop. It will exit from the immediate loop. Not from the loop, it will exit from the immediate loop. Remember that. Now, when a break keyword hits, it will exit from the immediate loop. It will exit from the immediate loop. Right now, that is the way of uh, the what the break keyword works. Right. I want you to switch the break with continue. Replace the break keyword with the continue, and then tell me how it works. Replace the break with the continue, and then tell me how it works. Replace the break with the continue, and then tell me how it works. Right? Now, what happens when you replace with the continue keyword? Yes, right, correct. Right now, what happens is if you use the continue keyword, right, right, if you use the continue keyword, it will, right, once inside a loop, once the continue keyword hits, it will ignore the current iteration. It will ignore the current iteration and then it will move to the next. Now, when for the first time when j equals 1, I equals 1, when I equals j continue, then it won't print this. It goes to the next. See, it won't print 1.1 and it won't print 2.2. It won't print 3.3. It won't print 4.4 because it will, remember, write down somewhere. If it is the continue keyword, if the continue keyword hits, it will ignore the current iteration and move to the next iteration. Right now, for an example. Now, let's say, now I have just showed you with an nested loop. Right now, let's use this. I want to print only the even numbers. Let's say now using continue keyword, how easy to do that. Let's say starting from 1 and goes up to 50, 20. I want to print only the even numbers. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an if condition. If I modulus 2, if I modulus 2, if it is equals to 1, that means it's an odd number. No? Then I'm going to say continue. I'm going to say continue. So if it is an odd number, it won't print the, it will ignore the current iteration and move to the next iteration. Otherwise, it will print the I value. Now let's run this and see. If right now you can say from 1 to 20 numbers, including 1 and up to 20 numbers. Now it should display if not 1 modulus 2, if it is I modulus 2. Okay, 1 modulus 2 is always on, no, that's why it did not run anything. Right, every time the loop is true, no, therefore it will ignore. Right now, you can say only the even numbers would be printed here. Because why? Because I have used the continue keyword. If it is an odd number, skip this, the rest of the lines. Skip the rest of the lines, go to the next. If it is continue, skip the rest, go to the next. Therefore, if the continue statement hits on a loop, then the rest of the condition will be skipped and moved to the next iteration. Simply ignores the current iteration and moves to the next iteration in the loop. Right. If you use the break, now if I say if I equals 5, if I say if I equals 5 break, if I equals 5 break, then once I become 5, the loop will stop. Once I become 5, the loop will stop. Once I become 5, loop will stop. Right, now that is how the break keyword and the continue keyword is working. Okay, write a program to get the inputs once a negative number is entered. Okay, that is can easily done by a while loop, no? Okay, right. Okay, using the break keyword, I want you to find out the first number which can be divided by 4 and 5. First number which can be divided by 4 and 5 from the user entered values. You have to keep on asking user to enter a number, and from the numbers user enters, you need to find the number. All right, now find the first number, which is find the first number divisible 4 and 5 from the user inputs. Right. Okay. Quickly try out this using the break key. Now the first one for the 20 it would work out. I value inside the brackets I have. Right now the second one also will work and to display 1 to 100 numbers by skipping 20 to 30, including 20 and 30, right, 10, 19, and then starting from 31. You can see the rest of the numbers has been skipped using the continue keyword. Right. This is how you can do it using the loops. Right. Now, let's quickly see how can we work with the arrays and thereafter how to deal with the enhanced for loop and how to iterate using the arrays as well. Right. Now, when it comes to an array, for the time being, you have seen this. Right now, we have an array. We always declaring an array called args with the type of string. That is the uh, string type array. Right. When you are declaring an array, right now you have the data type, and then you use these delimiters, right? You use these brackets, square brackets, opening and closing, in order to define it as an array. And array values has an index as well. Right now, let's see how to declare an array and how to assign the values as well. Right now, if you want to declare an array, now in a variable, you can hold only one value at a time. Then, if it is an array can use to hold 10 values or 20 values, whatever the numbers you have defined. You can define the array with a size and with a type. Then in that particular array, you can only store that number of given a defined number of values in the defined number of type. Then, in order to declare an array, right now, if I want to use this brackets, right now, then declaring square brackets means I'm declaring a one-dimensional array. Then I'm going to name it as numbers. Right, there are several ways of declaring the initializing the arrays. You can declare the value or you can initialize the value. Right, if you want to initialize the values at the time you create the array, inside the curly brackets you can put the values like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Likewise, you can put the values inside the curly brackets. Then there will be an array called number created with the size of 5. Then because you have 5 values, then you have 5 values with the size of 5. Then you have declared an array with the size of 5. Now it's simply like this. You have the array. Right now, this is the array size 5. Right now, we can have the values as well. Right now, here you have put 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Right. Likewise, we can have the values. Now, these are the values we have put it in the array. Now, there should be a way to read the values, way to access the values. Then, arrays have something called indexes. Then, indexes are starting from 0. Zero base indexes. Right now, here we have 0th index, first index, this is the second index, and this is the third index, and this is the fourth index. Therefore, if the array size is 5, so we can have 5 elements to can be stored, and each element can be accessed by the index. Then arrays values can be accessed using the index numbers. Index numbers starting from 0. Index numbers are starting from 0. For an example, if you want to figure it out. Now, what is the first index value? If you want to display the first index values, then we can use the array name number, use the array name, uh, array name is number. Inside the square brackets, we need to specify the index number. If I say 0, then it will display 10, because that is how I can access the 0th index value. Then that is how I can access the 0th index value. But if I try to access the 5th index, there is no such index. There is no index called 5, because array size is 5, therefore the highest index or the last index is 4. Then you will be getting an error saying array index out of bound exception, because that you can't access the 5th index, because 5th index is not available. Length is 5, size is 5, the array size is 5. So remember, this is how we can assign the values, and this is how we can initialize the array using just one line. If you want, okay, to declare only, if you want to declare an array of size 5, then you have to say new number and equals new int. Inside the brackets, you need to say how many. Right now, 5. Then you say declare an array called number to store 5 integers. To store 5 integers. That's what you said. Right. Then we can assign the values. Now you know how to access the values. No? Then we can say number 0th index. You can say 10. Right now, number 0th index 10. And for the array first index 1, 2, 3. Okay, first index 20. Second index, which is going to be the third value, which is 30. Third index, which be the fourth value, which is 40. And the fourth index, which is the fifth value, which is 50. Likewise, you can assign the values. Now, this is how you can assign the values to an array. And then you can display the array size. Array size can be displayed using array name, and there's a property called length. There's a property called length. The length property will give you the array size. And if you just print the number, right? If you just print the number, now you just print the number, then right, you are just printing the number. Number is the array name. Now let's see what will happen. The number dot length should give you 5. Now here it gives you 5. When you print the number, now you can see it gives you um, a hexadecimal value. It gives us a hexadecimal value. Might be a memory address or reference number, something. Therefore, it won't give us the elements. So now we can use a for loop to iterate through the array values. Then we could use for integer. We have to start from I equals 0 and goes up to 5 and I plus plus. And the meantime, what I want to do is I want to display the array values. Right now, then number ith index value. I index starting from 0, so it would display. Right now, let me print this number plus I plus. Right now, this would display the particular index and that particular value. Then I value here number 0th index 10, first index 20, second index 30, third index 40, fourth index 50. Likewise, it would print. Now, this is how you can iterate through a array using a for loop. Right, the same way you could do it using enhanced for loops as well. Then I will talk that in a little while. Just for the time being, try to create an array from the user inputs. Take 10 values, okay, 5 values from the user and assign it to an array and get the sum, get the total, get the total. Okay, quickly do it. And thereafter, create an array with the type of string and store only names, 5 names. Ask user to enter 5 vehicle brands and then store those in an array. Okay, quickly do it. You have 2 questions to be done. Right now, if you want to get the sum value, then it's easier. Sum equals 0. Then we could say sum equals, sum plus equals, what? Number, array, ith index, right? And then we can display, afterwards, we can display the total as well. Total equals the sum value, right? Now, if you run this, this would display the answer, right? 150. Okay. Now, you can assign the values, you can change the values, and so on. Right now, enhance for loop. Right now, the same thing we did here. Right now, okay, let me remove this sum part. Right, then here, the same thing you did here can be done using enhance for loop. Right now, then you can, if it is a collection or if it is an iterable, you can do it. For array contains integer objects, so integer I available. Right now, integer I in the right now array name. Array name is what? Numbers, integer objects in the numbers. Then this would run for that number of times. Then we can say is out I. Right now, this would display. Right now, here the first for loop is running by the index number, right? We access the values by the index number. The second one is not using the index number. Right now, then how the second one is working? Now, can someone tell me? Uh, right now, how the second one is working? The for loop is working with the first one based on the what do you call using the index numbers, no? Then the second one you call as a enhanced for loop or a for each loop. Now the for each loop or the enhanced for loop is used for iterating over arrays. Now this can be only used to iterate over arrays or collections, right? Therefore, it automatically iterates to the elements available in the collection. Therefore, you don't need to manage the control variable. You don't need to manage this. Right now, this would run for every element in the iterable or the collection here. And then each time this I variable get assigned an element. Therefore, if there are 10 elements, then this would run 10 times. Then each time elements get assigned to the I variable. Right, that is how the for each loop variable, for each loop is working or enhanced loop is working. Now, the main difference is between for and for each or enhanced for is the for loop you need to manually control. We need to control manually. Enhanced for loop automatically iterate over elements in the collection. Right, therefore now here you access by the index. You access by the index. Then here access by the elements in the collection. No indexes are required here. Right, then here, if it is this for loop, you can manually control, more flexible. You can decide how to go by. That means if you want to display the first element, then the third element, fifth element, likewise, then you can increase the I value by 2. No? Likewise, you can decide the step size. You have the more control, therefore more flexible. But here, you don't have any control over the how the for each loop runs, therefore less flexible, and you can only run through the elements in the array. Therefore, here this is more powerful, and then there it has more performance, but it is less efficient compared to the other because you need to deal with the index handling. Therefore, here in the for each loop, it is more efficient because it just gives you simple iteration through the collection item collection. Right. Therefore, here does not allow. Here it won't allow to it does not allow you to edit the items directly. But here it allows, using the index number you can access, you could do a change. But here it does not directly allow modifications of the elements, but here it does allow. Right, those are the changes or differences between for and for each. Therefore, like normally we use for each only when we need to iterate through a collection uh, without needing to know the index. And that is when we use the enhanced for loop. Right, now the second question I ask you to do is create an array called string. Then the same way you can declare string type array, class, or the class, and you can have new string cats class equal new string size 5, let's say. Now this is how you declare an array called class, and then you can class 0th index, you can assign a value, you can assign a model number. Likewise you can do it Toyota. Likewise you could do it right now. What else you have? 0th index, first index, second index, third index, fourth index. Can have Suzuki, Mazda, can have Honda. BMW, Mercedes. Then if you want to print this, you can easily go towards the enhanced for loop. Now the type is string. String I, or you can have any variable I in class. Then you can print out the I. That means every time the I variable get assigned a string object, and that object can be printed here. Now that is how you can work with the uh, enhanced for loop for each. Right now, here also we have declared a string array called args. That is a command line argument. Right now, I will show you in a notepad and the NetBeans next week how can we deal with this. Right now, the next question is, right now, not only single dimensional array, right? We have multi-dimensional arrays. Right now, if you want to um, declare an array with multi-dimensional arrays, right? That means not only one dimension, you need to have multi-dimensional arrays. So if you declare multi-dimensional arrays, let's say I'm going to declare an array called what? String cast with multi-dimensional array. Right now, then I'm going to have the model asset. Then 5 by 1, 5 by 2. Right now, I'm going to have the, right now, create an array called 5 by 2. Right now, then what do you mean by 5 by 2? That means now here I have declared 5 by 2. That means I'm declaring a table like rows and columns. Right, then I need to figure it out. What do you mean by this? That means how many rows or how many columns? How many rows or how many columns are there? Then 5 declared, 5 is defined by the rows or the columns that we need to figure it out. Right now, let's see how can we figure it out whether it is now here this is a two-dimensional array. Now since we have declared a two-dimensional array, that means whether how many rows or how many columns we have declared. Right now, you can declare three-dimensional arrays as well. If it is a two-dimensional array, that means how many rows and how many columns we can have. Then if you have 5 by 2 arrays, 5 by 2, then 5 rows and 2 columns, then I have mentioned that I am going to declare an array which is 5 rows and 2 columns, which is 5 rows and 2 columns, 5 rows and 2 columns. Like simply, let me draw this. Okay, here. Right now, here you can see here we have the indexes right now 0 and 1, and we have another indexes here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have the indexes starting from like this. Then 0, 0 index stands for this. Right now, let's say we have Toyota. Right, and then we have, let's say, year. We're gonna have the year 1990. And then let's say we have Suzuki 2000, Mazda 2010, and let's say Honda 2015. Then let's say BMW 2018. Like as I have some values, let's say right now this, okay, let's say we need to access this. Right, then okay, if you have declared this array, now this is the cars array. Now if I want to access this, now car 0, 0, now 0, 0 index, which is Toyota, right? Then if I want to assign now 0, 1 index, 0, 1 index, it's a string, no? Then I have to store it in a string format. Likewise, I have to do it. Right? Rather, I have to do it many times. So therefore, I'm gonna write a program, a for loop, to enter the values. Right? I'm gonna just write a for loop just to enter the values. Then let me have the for loop first. This only for run for 5 times. No? Then run for 5 times. Then I'm gonna ask user to enter the name. Right, and then I'm gonna assign that value to the cars. I throw 0th index. I'm gonna assign scan object dot next line. Next also fine. Next line. And 0th one scan object dot next line. Right. Likewise, I can get the values to the array. Right. Then I have to iterate through this one. In order to iterate through this, now I'm going to use again a for loop for. Right. Now let's say I don't know about the size of the array. Then I'm going to start from I equals 0. Then I know that I can get the size by the array dot length, cast dot length. there's a method for property called length. Therefore, from the length, I can figure it out what is the number of rows available here. And I can have another loop right now. But I don't know the number of columns available. Then I can say cast ith index dot length. Now that means for particular row, the length. That means number of columns available here. Then I can display s out cast, right? If you want to display the index as well, cast here this should be I value no? Plus I plus bracket and plus j value plus closing bracket equals plus cast ith index ith row j column value. Okay, here we have added this, right? We have added this j plus, what does it say? Not an next statement right now. Pass. Okay, here the plus sign was missing. Right. Now, if you run this program, then here in the first follow, we'll get the values from the user and then ask name, let's say Toyota 1990. The second one, Suzuki 2000, Mazda 2010, and then Honda 2015, and then the BMW 2018. Right now, this would print like this. Now you can see how we can access the arrays using for multi-dimensional arrays. Now this is a two-dimensional arrays. Now you should have asked, okay, rather doing this, can we initialize the array at the time you declare? Yes, it's possible. If you want to declare the array at the time you declare, then you need to do it right now. A string cast, then you need to put it inside the curly brackets. You need to explicitly list down the elements. Then how we can list down the elements. All right, then how we can do that? Right, we can have Toyota 90. Come on. Right, now I'm gonna only have three values, right? Okay, let's see. Suzuki. And then I'm gonna have another set of values that and Mazda. Fourth one I'm gonna have only Honda. And the fifth one I'm gonna have only BMW, not the E. I'm not gonna have the EA. Right. Now you can see for some values I have not inserted this 2015 and 2018. Right now, if I run this, now since the for loop will run for each column the length, therefore it won't give us any error. Right now here, it will show you Toyota 90, Suzuki 2000, Mazda 3010, this is 2010, and Honda and BMW because I have not entered the first column values because now this array It's a two-dimensional array, but for this one, for the third row or the third index values here, it does not have a first column value. Third row, first column does not exist. And fourth row, first column does not exist. There is no such value for value I have initialized. I have not initialized such a value. That's why the advantage of using the length operator. Now, using the length, we can get up to the exact place. No? Right now, my question is to right now using two-dimensional arrays. Right now, create an array in the first row. I want you to in the first column. I want you to have 1 to 10 numbers. The second column, I want you to have the square value. Third column, I want you to have the cubic value. First column, you have to have the number. Second column, square values of that particular number. Third column, the cubic value of that number. Then we'll wind up for today. We quickly do. I'll give you 2 minutes time. Using for loop, I less than ARR dot length. And then we can have a south. Okay, we can have another loop, for loop. J equals 0, J less than ARR. Ith index dot length. Then we can have a system dot out dot print. We can print the I value here. ARR ith index jth value plus dash t. And then in the after printing this, we can have empty line. We can see how does it work. Okay, this is how it prints. If you want to start from 1, then you need to have here starting from 1 and less than 10. Then that would do the trick. And then if you want, you can have you can I equals 1, I less than I equals to 10. Right, okay, we'll have 0, my bad. Then here we need to have I plus 1. I plus 1 multiplied by I plus 1. Then you need to have the brackets. Because I values are, we use the same thing for the indexing as well. We use the same thing for indexing as well, so that's why if you start from 1, it will go to array 10th index. There's no such index. Equal sign now. Yes. Right now, this is how you do this. Right, okay, please practice about this multidimensional arrays and the arrays. And then if you have any questions, please ask on the next day. Then we could discuss on the next day. Right. Any questions up to now? You can ask now. Other than that, we can wind up for today. Any questions? Please ask.